Every time you touch money, something is spoken. Even when your lips are closed, even when no word is heard in the room, there is still a message going forth from you. Every time you hold a bill, every time you open your wallet, every time you count coins, receive a payment, pay a debt, swipe a card, send a transfer, or look at your bank account, your inner state is making a declaration. And that declaration is never empty. It carries the tone of your heart. It carries the rhythm of your belief. It carries the secret sentence you have repeated so often that your subconscious now accepts it as law. The world has taught many people to believe that money is separate from spirit. It has told them that money is cold, material, neutral, and lifeless, something to chase, fear, hoard, resent, worship, or lose. But this is not the higher understanding of spiritual law. Money, rightly understood, is not a dead thing. It is a form of circulating substance. It is a servant of law. It responds to the consciousness that handles it. It listens, not with ears of flesh, but with the perfect obedience of principle. It follows the tone you give it. It moves according to the atmosphere you create around it. Most people touch money in fear. They count it with tension. They pay with dread. They receive it with anxiety, already imagining how quickly it will disappear. They say, "I cannot afford this," while holding proof that supply has reached them. They say, "Money never stays with me," and then wonder why it passes through their hands like water through open fingers. They say, "Money is hard to get," and then are surprised when every path seems blocked, delayed, or difficult. They speak lack while touching supply. They declare emptiness while standing in the presence of substance. They hold a symbol of provision and command it, unknowingly, to vanish. And then they ask why it does not multiply. But money does not respond only to effort. It responds to consciousness. It responds to blessing. It responds to right words, right feeling, right expectation, and spiritual authority. Work has its place. Wisdom has its place. Planning has its place. But above all these, your inner law must be set in divine order. You must begin now to treat every money moment as sacred. Every bill you hold, every coin you find, every card you use, every invoice you pay, every gift you receive, every transaction you enter, these are not merely ordinary events. They are opportunities for demonstration. They are moments in which you either affirm abundance or confirm lack. They are little altars placed throughout your day. The instant you touch money, you are standing at a spiritual altar, and your word, in that moment, either blesses your future or limits it. Do not let another dollar pass through your hands without blessing it. Do not let another payment leave your account without sending it forth with love. Do not let another coin arrive without recognizing it as a sign that supply is already moving toward you. Say within yourself, "This is not loss. This is circulation. This is not depletion. This is divine substance moving under grace. What I bless returns to me multiplied in right and perfect ways." For if you do not speak increase over your money, you silently permit the old world thought to speak for you. And the world thought speaks fear. It speaks shortage. It speaks confusion. It speaks, "There is not enough." It speaks, "Hold tightly." It speaks, "You may lose everything." Silence is not always neutral. In the realm of spiritual law, silence often becomes agreement with the strongest belief already planted in the subconscious. If fear has been planted there, silence lets fear rule. If lack has been repeated there, silence lets lack continue. But when you speak with certainty, when you speak with faith, when you speak with calm spiritual authority, you interrupt the old pattern and establish a new one, not by magic, by law. Let your new ritual begin today. Every time you touch money, no matter how small the amount, say a sentence of blessing, not a nervous sentence, not a begging sentence, not a desperate sentence spoken as if you are pleading with life to rescue you. Speak a sacred command. Speak a declaration that carries divine substance, creative vibration, and spiritual finality. Do not speak as one who hopes helplessly. Speak as one who knows. For law does not respond to begging, it responds to conviction. It does not move because you panic. It moves because your word becomes one with truth. Let your fingers become transmitters of blessing. Let your tongue become the rod of multiplication. Let your heart become a quiet chamber of certainty. Let your vibration match the truth of divine supply. You are not spending money. You are circulating it. You are not losing value. You are commanding return. You are not fearing lack. You are declaring increase. Say this whenever money enters or leaves your hand. Divine substance cannot be depleted. I bless this money, and I see it multiply under grace in perfect ways. Say it with breath. Say it with rhythm. Say it with authority. Say it when you receive a payment. Say it when you pay a bill. Say it when you buy food. Say it when you tip someone. Say it when you give. Say it when you count what remains. Say it when you see only a small amount and the mind wants to tremble. Say it until your body begins to believe it. Say it until your subconscious no longer argues. Say it until your inner world bows before divine order. Money is not dirty. It is not evil. It is not unspiritual. It becomes distorted only when it is handled through greed, fear, guilt, pride, or resentment. But in itself, money is a channel. It is a medium through which service, care, provision, exchange, shelter, food, education, healing, beauty, and generosity may move. The great deception is that money belongs only to man, that it is created only by systems, controlled only by governments, earned only by toil, lost only by mistake, and separated entirely from the realm of spirit. But the deeper truth is this: money is one visible form of invisible supply. It is substance made usable. It is the shadow of a greater reality. It is drawn to those who recognize the law behind it. There is no conflict between money and spirit. There is only conflict between ignorance and truth. The same source that gives you life gives you daily bread. The same divine intelligence that moves planets in order can move money in order. The same presence that clothed the lilies and fed the birds has not forgotten the practical needs of your life. When you separate money from the divine, you strip it of blessing. You make it heavy. You make it frightening. You make it an idol or an enemy. But when you unite money with the law of good, you restore it to its proper place. A servant, a channel, an instrument, a visible sign of invisible provision. The issue is never money itself. The issue is the mind that handles it. Do not treat money as common. Do not treat it with fear, guilt, bitterness, or disdain. Do not say, "It is only $1." Do not say, "I hate money." Do not mock the very instrument through which good can reach you and through which you can bless others. What you scorn cannot remain with you. What you resent, you repel. What you curse, you diminish. But what you bless, you multiply. What you honor, you attract. What you speak over with truth returns with favor. Money is a mirror. It reflects belief. It reflects expectation. It reflects the secret atmosphere of consciousness. If you believe it is hard, it hardens. If you believe it disappears, it disappears. If you feel guilty for having it, it withholds itself. If you touch it with dread, it becomes associated with dread. But if you see money as divine substance in circulation, if you bless it as a child of infinite supply, if you handle it with peace and not panic, it begins to move toward you in increasing ways. Never again say, "Money is hard to come by." Say instead, "God is my constant and generous supply." Money comes to me in right ways, through right channels, under grace and in perfect order. This is not mere poetry. This is spiritual instruction. When a word is spoken in rhythm, believed in the heart, and not contradicted by fear, it begins to take form. It does not matter how much money you hold in this moment. What matters is how you speak to what you have. Money is like water. It flows where it is welcomed. It evaporates where it is cursed. It is drawn to peace. It is magnetized by confidence. It is repelled by bitterness. You must become a sacred channel through which money moves freely, not hoarded, not feared, not worshipped, not despised. Blessed. Bless every dollar that enters your world. Bless every coin you find. Bless every payment you send. Bless every bill you pay. Bless every gift you receive. Bless every opportunity to earn, give, save, invest, and serve. Say aloud, this money is divine substance. It cannot be depleted. It flows to me and through me under grace, and it multiplies as it goes. And you will begin to notice something. What once escaped, you will linger. What once delayed will arrive. What once seemed hidden will reveal itself. Not because money has changed, but because you have changed. And as within, so without. As you speak, so it becomes. As you bless, so you receive. Let money become your sacred servant, and speak to it as such. Whatever you bless multiplies. This is not theory. It is not fantasy. It is spiritual law expressed through daily life. It does not matter what the world economy says. It does not matter what fear says. It does not matter what your old account balance says. The moment you bless something truthfully, lovingly, and without fear, you open a door through which divine increase can move. The law of multiplication is written into creation itself. The seed multiplies. The harvest multiplies. The talents, when rightly used, multiplied. The loaves and fishes multiplied in the hands of thanksgiving. Abundance is not strange to God. Overflow is not offensive to spirit. It is the nature of divine life to express, expand, nourish, provide, and increase. But abundance cannot enter a heart that curses its own supply. Most people hold their last dollar in fear. They clutch it and say, I must hold on, or I will have nothing. But I say, bless that dollar, love that dollar, speak to it. Recognize that $1 blessed as divine substance contains the spiritual pattern of millions. Let me give you this picture. A woman once had only $2 left. To the world, she was broke. To appearances, she had reached the end. But instead of calling those dollars nothing, she held them in her hand as sacred substance and said, this is God's money. It is spiritual substance. It cannot be depleted. I bless it and see it multiply under grace in perfect ways. Within the week, $6,000 came to her from a channel she had not imagined. Did her words invent the money from nothing? They released it. They aligned her consciousness with the supply already waiting in the invisible. They lifted her out of panic and into law. The money was not far away. It was waiting for her vibration to rise to the level of receiving. Money is often not absent. It is out of tune with your consciousness. Your word is your tuning fork. Your decree is your alignment. Your blessing is your invitation. Stop asking, where is the money? Begin declaring, money is here, supply is ready. Divine increase now appears under grace and in perfect order. Speak this not as a wish, but as a truth already moving. The loaves and fishes did not multiply through fear. They did not multiply by counting them again and again in anxiety. They multiplied through gratitude. The blessing came before the visible increase. Thanksgiving opened the way. So you must look at what you have, not with shrinking, but with faith. Not with dread, but with spiritual boldness. Take what is in your hand, however small it seems, and say, I bless this money. I bless its source. I bless its direction. I now see it return to me multiplied, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Do not wait until you have more before you speak. Speak now. Speak when it is small. Speak when it appears insufficient. Speak when the human mind says, this cannot be enough. For the one who speaks faithfully over little is preparing to govern much. The one who fears smallness will never taste overflow. But the one who sees divine pattern in every dollar touches the rhythm of multiplication. Money is not merely logical, it is lawful, and law listens to your voice. So touch your money, even if it is only $1, and say, "This money multiplies because I have blessed it in truth." And let it be so, not by force, not by manipulation, not by panic, but by the spoken word, aligned with divine law. Now I give you the sentence, not as a charm, not as a spell, not as a phrase to repeat mechanically while your heart remains full of fear. A sacred sentence has no power when the speaker is divided. It must be spoken with attention. It must be spoken with reverence. It must be spoken as a command to law and a reminder to your own soul. Say this aloud every time you touch money. Divine substance cannot be depleted. I bless this money and see it multiply under grace in perfect ways. Let these words become a doorway. Say them when you receive money. Say them when you pay money. Say them when money is transferred. Say them when money is counted. Say them when money is given. Say them when money is owed. Say them when money seems delayed. Say them when the amount is large, and say them when the amount is small. Speak slowly. Speak with certainty. Speak as one who knows that invisible supply is greater than visible appearance. Speak as a ruler addressing his realm. Speak as a priest blessing an offering, for that is what you are doing. You are sanctifying substance. You are lifting it from fear into law. You are commanding multiplication through spiritual authority. The law hears rhythm. The subconscious receives repetition. The invisible responds to conviction. You do not need to know the channel. You do not need to calculate the method. You do not need to strain your mind asking, "How will this happen?" The sentence is not about human logic. It is about spiritual alignment. When you say it, you shift your frequency. When you say it, you rise above dread. When you say it, you join your voice to the divine storehouse that is never empty. Let your relationship with money be purified. You no longer touch it with dread. You no longer feel shame when you spend. You no longer shrink when you give. You no longer flinch when you open your account. You no longer let a bill determine your peace. You speak the sentence, and the sentence governs the moment. Money must multiply where it is blessed, not because of personal force, but because of the source behind the word. You are not the origin of supply. You are the speaker, the channel, the steward. And the speaker who knows divine law walks in a different atmosphere. So touch the dollar, touch the coin, touch the card, touch the phone that carries your digital accounts, and say, "Divine substance cannot be depleted. I bless this money and see it multiply under grace in perfect ways." Say it as many times as needed until your body feels truth. Say it until the old nervous system begins to relax. Say it until the mind stops arguing with law. Say it until the vibration takes root. Then expect proof, for a word spoken in faith and aligned with law cannot return empty. But now you must understand something with fierce clarity. If money has seemed to flee from you again and again, it is not because money is unfaithful. It is because the words around it have often pushed it away. Every idle sentence spoken against your own supply becomes a gate closed in the face of abundance. Every time you say, "I cannot afford that," you are not merely describing a condition. You are planting one. Every time you say, "Money goes faster than it comes," you are instructing your experience. Every time you say, "I am always broke," you are not being honest in the higher sense. You are prophesying scarcity. Every time you say, "This is too expensive," with resentment and fear, you are placing yourself outside the flow of divine good. Law does not pause to ask whether you were joking. It does not analyze your mood. It does not say, "They did not really mean it." The subconscious records the statement and begins to arrange conditions that match it. You may speak lightly, casually, habitually, even humorously, but law receives the words seriously, and so money hears, "There is never enough," and it disperses. It hears, "I am not worthy," and it reroutes. It hears, "I always lose," and it disappears. You cannot curse your garden and expect a harvest. You cannot mock your field and expect fruit. You cannot speak death over your supply and then wonder why it does not bloom. Money is spiritual substance in form. When it is handled with sarcasm, panic, resentment, or complaint, it withdraws, not as punishment, but as principle. What is unblessed cannot fully serve. What is feared cannot freely flow. What is shamed cannot become a joyful instrument. So ask yourself now, with honesty and without condemnation, what have I been speaking over my money? What have I muttered when paying a bill? What have I whispered when checking my balance? What have I repeated to friends about my financial life? What old family sayings have I accepted as law? What jokes about poverty have I spoken as if they had no consequence? Every phrase is a seed. Every seed brings forth after its kind. It is time to speak differently. It is time to bless what you once buried. It is time to honor what you once mocked. It is time to declare life where you once rehearsed lack. Say this when you touch your wallet, your purse, your receipts, your bank app. I do not curse my supply. I declare it sacred. Money flows to me freely now, and I speak only life over it. This is not denial. This is divine instruction. You are not ignoring reality. You are reshaping it at the level where reality begins. The world that forms next will obey the word most deeply accepted in you. So guard your mouth, guard your tongue. Let no false prophecy proceed from your lips. You are no longer the victim of money. You are the spiritual governor of it, and what is governed first in consciousness must eventually obey in form. Every time you pay a bill, every time you part with money, you are declaring what you believe about supply. Most people believe they are losing something when they pay. They believe they are being drained. They tense the body. They sigh. They complain. They send money out, wrapped in resentment, then wonder why its return is delayed. But I tell you, you are not spending money in the old sense. You are circulating divine substance, and what you circulate with joy returns to you multiplied. Payment is not depletion. It is a spiritual transaction. It is proof that you trust the source of all good to refill what you have released. It is an opportunity to say, I am part of the flow of life. Good comes to me, good moves through me, and good returns to me increased. Never again speak fear over payment. Never again sigh as if a bill is your master. Never again groan when rent is due. Never again let a receipt become evidence of loss. These reactions are anti-blessings. They are little curses disguised as normal behavior. And law, hearing your tone, answers with an echo. If you send money out in fear, fear returns. If you send it out in resentment, resentment returns. If you send it out in trust, trust opens the way. Begin now to handle money as a sacred cup is handled with reverence, attention, calmness, and faith. When you pay for anything, whisper aloud or within your heart, I pay this in joy, and it returns to me multiplied, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. This is spiritual mathematics. What you give in joy returns with increase. What you release in fear delays its return. What you part with in gratitude creates pathways for more. Payment is proof of circulation, and circulation is the law of life. Stagnation is the illusion of safety. Hoarding from terror does not create peace. Clutching does not create wealth. Panic does not create supply. You were not meant to hoard, clutch, and tremble. You were meant to bless, trust, and command flow. Say this when the bill arrives. This is not a burden. It is proof that I am trusted with substance. I send this forth in peace, and it returns to me multiplied. Then your bills are no longer enemies. They become tests of trust, and when you speak truth into them, they transform from chains into channels. Your rent becomes a portal of gratitude for shelter. Your electricity becomes a gateway of appreciation for light. Your food becomes evidence of nourishment. Your tuition becomes a divine investment. Your giving becomes seed. Your saving becomes wisdom. Your spending becomes circulation. Bless your payments with the same power with which you bless your income, because it is all one flow. Money coming in and money going out are not two separate laws. They are one movement of divine substance. And whatever you handle with joy shall return with power. Every visible blessing begins with an invisible word. There is no exception. Your riches do not begin in the bank. They do not begin in the check. They do not begin in the client, the job, the sale, the contract, the inheritance, or the opportunity. These are channels. They are not source. Your riches begin in the sentence. They begin with what you say before the evidence appears. Most people wait to speak abundance until they see it. But that is not law. That is reaction. Law is cause. The spoken word in faith is cause. The visible result is effect. I have seen this again and again. A woman stood with nothing but belief. No money in sight. No open doors. No obvious channel. But instead of rehearsing lack, she spoke day and night. She saw in imagination the colors, the forms, the checks, the papers, the signs of abundance. She declared that supply was taking visible shape for her in right ways. She saw it, she felt it, she spoke it. Before $1 appeared, she was speaking the truth that preceded it. And in time, because time is never the master of spirit, the outer world began to agree. The very pattern she had declared appeared in form, not because she forced it, but because she called it. Do not wait until you have proof to speak. Speak, and the proof will follow. Do not say, I will believe it when I see it. That is the language of delay. Say instead, I will see it because I have spoken it in faith. The world you live in is an echo of your dominant decree. The sacred pattern is to call forth what is not yet visible, as though it were already established in divine mind. This is not pretending, it is agreeing with the unseen before the seen has caught up. You are not describing the present appearance. You are commanding the unseen. You are not waiting for riches to appear before you bless them. You are forming the path by which they come. Your sentence is your spiritual mold. When you speak riches in truth, the subconscious accepts the design. Then the outer world begins to take the shape that the inner world has already received. So say it before it arrives. Say it while the purse feels empty. Say it while the account looks barren. Say it while the human mind says, nothing is happening. Say it not to convince the world, but to instruct law. Say now, I see riches surrounding me. I walk in financial peace every day, in every way. My supply multiplies, visible and invisible. Divine substance now takes perfect form. Speak it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next, until your inner world accepts it as fact. Until your outer world can no longer resist. For when the word becomes law in your soul, it must become matter in your hand. Do not jest with money. Do not mock your supply. Do not make yourself the punchline of poverty and expect wealth to honor you. This is a warning, not from fear, but from divine clarity. The subconscious mind has no sense of humor in matters of law. It records every repeated word as instruction. It does not know that you are only joking. It does not separate sarcasm from command. It does not say, this was said in laughter, so I will ignore it. It receives vibration. It receives tone. It receives image. It receives repeated statement. Then it builds. A woman once repeatedly said, one day I will be living out of a trunk. She laughed when she said it. Others laughed with her. To them, it seemed harmless. But her subconscious was not laughing. It was taking notes. It was preparing the image. It was accepting the command. And before long, the condition she had joked about became the condition she was living. Not because she lacked ability, not because she lacked opportunity, but because she had prophesied her own downfall. You must understand this clearly. There is no neutral word. There are constructive words and destructive words. There are words that align with divine truth and words that align with fear. There are words that open doors and words that close them. There are words that bless the seed and words that poison the field. When you joke about being broke, your subconscious moves to match the joke. When you mock wealthy people, Your mind quietly makes wealth feel unsafe. When you laugh at your own lack, you extend the atmosphere of scarcity. Stop using your tongue to entertain others at the expense of your own good. Words are not toys. They are tools. They are keys. They are seeds. They are sacred instruments of law. Use them with reverence. Use them with awareness. Use them to create, not to collapse. Use them to build, not to destroy. Use them to bless, not to bind. If you have spoken foolishly about money, cancel it now. Do not condemn yourself. Do not fear your past words. Simply reverse the old decree and establish the new one. Say aloud, "Every idle word I have spoken about money is now neutralized, reversed, and replaced by divine truth." Then replace the curse with blessing. Replace sarcasm with structure. Replace complaint with command. Replace the joke with justice. Speak only what you are willing to see appear. Sigh, "I speak only increase. I speak only favor. I speak only divine provision. My words are filled with power and peace." Let your words become your wealth. Let your speech become your storehouse. Let no falsehood leave your lips, because every sentence is a seed, and what you sow in consciousness must bring forth after its kind. If you would see wealth appear in your outer world, you must first see it and speak it in your inner world. This is the divine architecture. First the vision, then the vibration, then the visible. All things created first appear in imagination, then are sealed in word, then formed in experience. This is the rhythm of demonstration, and it cannot be bypassed. It cannot be replaced by panic, strain, luck, or restless labor. You must become the architect of your wealth. Sit in the sanctuary of your spirit and build, not with bricks, but with words, not merely with budgets, but with belief, not with anxiety, but with divine order. You must see your riches before the world sees them. You must speak your abundance before circumstances confirm it. Law waits for leadership, and your leadership begins with image and word. Imagination is the womb. The spoken word is the seed. Demonstration is the birth. If you try to produce outwardly without seeing and speaking inwardly, you push against life. But when clear vision and sacred speech are united, the law delivers in perfect ways. Let this become your daily ritual. Close your eyes and see your wealth. Not as fantasy, not as craving, not as a frantic escape from present conditions. See it as truth taking form. See bills paid in peace. See accounts in order. See your home blessed. See your work prospering. See opportunities arriving. See debts dissolved. See savings growing. See generosity flowing. See yourself giving freely and receiving gracefully. Do not wonder how. That is not your first task. Your task is to form the blueprint. The law will build through right channels. Then speak what you see. Declare it aloud, even if your surroundings contradict it. Even if the bank account appears small. Even if the world calls you unrealistic. Speak anyway, because what is spoken in alignment must begin to take form. Sigh, "I see my wealth. I feel my abundance. I declare my supply." What I speak now appears under grace, in divine order, and in perfect timing. And then walk as one who has already received. Stop begging. Stop pleading. Stop negotiating with fear. Start agreeing with truth. Let your body move in rhythm with your decree. Stand tall. Speak clearly. Act peacefully. Give joyfully. Receive gratefully. These are not performances. They are signs of spiritual alignment. Demonstration does not come by passive waiting. It comes by building in the unseen. It comes by seeing, speaking, blessing, and acting from the consciousness of supply. Then suddenly it appears, and the world calls it luck. But you know it is law. Combine vision with vibration. Combine image with declaration. Combine faith with right action. What you build inside will soon stand before you outside. When spirit receives both your sight and your sound, the answer begins to take visible form. There is also a sacred window, the world has forgotten. The moment before sleep and the moment upon waking, these are the gates of the subconscious. At night, the mind becomes quiet. The outer world loosens its grip. The deeper self becomes receptive. In the morning, before the noise of the day enters, the subconscious is still open, tender, impressionable, ready to receive direction. What you speak during these gates does not vanish. It enters the soil of the being. It roots itself deeply. It governs the hours that follow. So bless your money at night and bless it in the morning. Not as superstition, not as empty routine, but as law. Law works by repetition. Law responds to rhythm. You would not water a plant once and expect a garden to bloom. Do not speak prosperity once and then spend the rest of the day contradicting it. Speak daily. Speak at the doorposts of your day. Before you close your eyes at night, say, I now draw from the abundance within and see wealth without. Every dollar I touch returns to me blessed and multiplied. Let this be the last vibration your body remembers. Let it travel with you into sleep. Let it echo through the chambers of the subconscious. Let your dream state be governed by truth, not fear. While you sleep, the seed is watered. While you sleep, the subconscious rearranges. While you sleep, divine intelligence moves through unseen channels, preparing right meetings, right ideas, right impulses, right timing, and right action. Then when morning comes, do not give your first attention to fear. Do not touch your phone, your messages, your email, your news, or your worries before you have spoken the law again. Greet your supply. Greet the invisible abundance moving toward you. Say with fresh breath, I now draw from the abundance within and see wealth without. Every dollar I touch returns to me blessed and multiplied. Touch your wallet, touch your purse, touch your card, touch your phone if it holds your financial accounts. Bless them, not out of duty, but out of dominion. Let every object connected to your finances become a reminder that your money now obeys a higher vibration. Night and morning, the beginning and the ending, the first and last word of your day. Let truth govern them both, and the hours between them shall begin to fall into order. This is the double blessing. This is the daily rhythm of the spiritually prosperous, not occasional, not reactive, not fearful, but rhythmic, bold, peaceful, and faithful. What you speak in darkness appears in light. What you declare at rest shows up in motion. What you bless at sunrise finds its path by sundown. And so it is. There is one barrier more dangerous than doubt, more stubborn than fear, and more hidden than lack. It is guilt. Guilt about wealth. Guilt about wanting more. Guilt about receiving while others struggle. Guilt about rising above a family pattern. Guilt about being blessed. This guilt is an invisible thief of abundance. Even when the word is right, guilt in the heart can reject what the voice has commanded. You may declare prosperity with your mouth, but if something within you whispers, I do not deserve this, the demonstration is delayed. You must cleanse yourself of every false belief that says you are unworthy of riches, that wanting money is selfish, that receiving more is wrong, that poverty is proof of holiness, or that struggle is more spiritual than overflow. These are not divine ideas. They are human fears wearing religious clothing. The truth is this: your wealth can serve good. Your increase can bless others. Your prosperity can become a channel of generosity, beauty, relief, service, stability, and right action. The law is not offended by your overflow. Spirit is not jealous of your storehouse. Infinite supply is not diminished because you receive your portion. There is no scarcity in divine mind. When you receive rightly, you do not take from others. You align with your own good. You become an example of law in action, a testimony that truth does not fail. Let these words replace guilt in the body. It is right for me to prosper. I use money in love, and money flows to me in peace. If the old voice whispers, "Who are you to have more?" answer with law. I am a child of divine abundance. I inherit good. I release guilt and walk in grace. You cannot speak multiplication while clinging to guilt. You cannot bless your money and then hate yourself for having it. These contradictions confuse the demonstration. But when guilt is released, restriction is released. When you accept that your wealth can bless others, you open wider channels. Say now, my wealth is a blessing to all. I release guilt. I walk in truth. I receive with ease, and I give with joy. Let this become your new truth. Let it sink into your bones. Let it echo louder than the old voices. You are not here to shrink. You are not here to apologize for divine good. You are here to demonstrate what becomes possible when fear dissolves, guilt dies, and law reigns. From this new place, abundance comes freely. The law never fails. It is not partial. It is not delayed by distance. It is not defeated by economy, opinion, history, or appearance. It does not ask how long you have struggled. It does not measure how many times you have cried. It responds to the spoken word of truth, declared in rhythm, backed by faith, and sealed by inner agreement. When you speak rightly and do not contradict your own word, the law goes to work. A woman once found herself in great need. She was out of work. Rent was due. Food was needed. Fear moved around her like a storm. But she had learned the law, and she refused to bow to panic. She did not beg. She did not collapse. She did not rehearse disaster. She closed her eyes, touched her empty wallet, and spoke. God is my immediate and inexhaustible supply. Unexpected channels open to me now. She said it again and again, not frantically, but faithfully. Then she went about her day. Hours later, as she walked outside, she felt an inner prompting to look beneath a bush. There, hidden under leaves, was an envelope with her name on it. Inside was the exact amount she needed, enough to pay the rent and provide food for the week. Some would call this coincidence, but the spiritually awake call it demonstration. For this rhythm has appeared in countless lives. The moment a person stops begging and begins declaring, the law starts shaping new channels. The moment fear is no longer rehearsed and supply is spoken as truth, the invisible begins to become visible. You may say, but this has not happened for me. Then ask yourself, have I spoken in faith or in fear? Have I declared with authority or merely hoped with doubt? Have I blessed consistently or contradicted myself 10 times a day? Have I spoken the law, then immediately canceled it with complaint? The law hears certainty, not noise, not panic, not emotional pleading. Certainty. Speak now. The law never fails. I declare my supply, and it appears under grace in perfect ways. Let this become your daily conviction. Do not wonder how. Do not watch the clock. Do not dig up the seed each day to see whether it has grown. Speak, walk, trust, act when intuition guides, give when love moves, receive when good arrives, and remain faithful to the word. The law never forgets your decree. It never misplaces your request. It always fulfills the pattern that has been accepted by consciousness. So pattern your words in faith, and the results will become undeniable. There is no chaos in spirit. There is no confusion in divine mind. Only human fear disorganizes what God has already made whole. If your finances feel tangled, heavy, delayed, or unclear, it is not because divine good has been withheld. It is often because your vibration has not yet aligned with divine order. You have spoken inconsistently. You have blessed in one breath and complained in the next. You have declared abundance in the morning and feared lack by afternoon. You have paid with panic and received with doubt. And law, which reflects rhythm, has mirrored disorder. But the moment you bring your words, feelings, and actions into harmony, divine order begins to appear in your finances. Order is not only budgeting. Order is not only paperwork. Order is not perfection. Order is spiritual alignment, expressing itself as practical peace. Divine order begins with a decree. Speak this daily. Every dollar in my world is aligned, assigned, and multiplying under grace. Let that become the spiritual architecture of your money, aligned with truth, assigned to good, multiplying with ease. No more spending driven by fear. No more hiding from bills. No more disowning your wealth. No more resentment toward the channels through which money moves. No more confusion over what is yours to do. You are the governor of your financial reality. And governors do not guess. They command. This is your spiritual instruction. Give in faith, not fear. Save in wisdom, not worry. Spend in peace, not panic. Receive in gratitude, not guilt. Invest with intuition, not anxiety. Let every action with money be a testimony of trust. Money is not your master. It is your servant. It is not your source. It is one channel through which source moves. It is not your security. Your security is divine law operating through right consciousness. So use money with reverence. Use it with rhythm. Use it with clarity. Speak into every financial decision. I do not manage money by fear. I govern it by divine order. What is governed by law cannot fail. Let your inner world reflect the peace of knowing that your supply is steady, your seed is blessed, your return is multiplying, and your way is opening even now. When order reigns inside, chaos must bow outside. You are not trying to become prosperous, as though prosperity were far from you. You are aligning with the truth that divine supply is already present and seeking expression through you. Walk in that knowing, act in that rhythm, and watch your money rise to meet the vibration of your word. Now you know, and once you know, you cannot return to the old vibration. You cannot unknow law. You cannot unspeak truth. You cannot pretend that your words are powerless. The power has always been yours, but now it is conscious. Now it is awakened. Now it has been placed in your hand like a key. And I charge you now, child of God. Do not walk forward in financial fear. Walk forward in financial dominion. You are not waiting for money. Money is waiting for you, waiting for your voice, waiting for your consistency, waiting for your blessing, waiting for you to stop cursing the very channel you desire to open. You have been given the keys to increase, the sentence of multiplication, the law of spoken truth, the sacred act of circulation, the rhythm of morning and night declaration, the cleansing of guilt, the command of divine order. These are not theories. They are tools of demonstration. Use them. Touch your money and speak. Pay your bills and bless. See lack and declare abundance. Feel doubt and override it with rhythm. Let no financial moment pass without awareness. Let no coin slip through your fingers without praise. Let no transaction escape your vibration. Let no old phrase of lack rule your future. And now, for your final charge, say this aloud with boldness. Money now comes to me from expected and unexpected sources. I walk in plenty. I speak in plenty. I live in the law of increase. My supply is sure. My word is blessed. My wealth is unfolding even now. Again, my supply is sure. My word is blessed. My wealth is unfolding even now. Say it until the rhythm writes itself into your body. Say it until the mind submits to truth. Say it until the subconscious receives the command. Say it until the outer world must answer. You are not beneath money. You are not afraid of it. You are not confused by it. You now handle it with truth, power, peace, and joy. From this day forward, whenever you touch money, remember, you are touching a symbol of divine substance. You are standing before a law that listens. You are being given a moment to bless, command, and align. Speak with faith. Speak with clarity. Speak with gratitude. Speak with the calm authority of one who knows that divine order is already working. And if this teaching has awakened something in you, write this declaration in the comments and let it become your public word of faith. I speak the word of faith, and divine order now opens my way. Let that sentence go forth as seed. Let it bless your money. Let it bless your work. Let it bless your home. Let it bless your giving. Let it bless your receiving. For spirit is listening. Law is moving. Divine supply is present. and the word once spoken in faith cannot return void. And so it is.